Sometime yesterday, you checked the time. You checked your balance. You called yourself by your name. 3 things you treat as solid ground. Not one of them is quite as real as you think. Money, time, the self you call you. We treat all 3 like laws of physics, fixed, non-negotiable, the walls of the room you live inside. But the philosopher Alan Watts spent his life pointing at something stranger. These aren't walls at all. They're agreements. And in the next few minutes, you'll watch all 3 quietly come loose in your hands. Money is a story. Reach into your pocket and pull out a bill. Look at it. It's paper, ink, a promise printed by strangers. On its own, it can't feed you, warm you, or love you. It only works because everyone agreed, together, to pretend that it does. But here's the thing. In 2010, in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, the psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Angus Deaton tracked how money maps onto happiness. More income lifted people's daily mood, but only up to a point. Past roughly $75,000 a year, the emotional payoff went flat. The number on the screen kept climbing. The feeling underneath it didn't. You already know this feeling. The raise you were sure would change everything. It arrived. For about a week, it glowed. Then, it quietly became the new normal, and your eyes drifted to the next number up the ladder. So money was never the thing you wanted. It was a symbol standing in for the thing. And once you see one invisible agreement running your life, you start to wonder what else is quietly keeping time. The clock you argue with. Time feels like a river. It flows one direction, the same speed for everyone, whether you like it or not. But sit through a single boring minute with a stopwatch, then blink through an hour with someone you love. Same clock, wildly different rivers. In 1999, in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, the psychologists Philip Zimbardo and John Boyd argued that your sense of time isn't a fixed external fact at all. They called it time perspective, a construction your mind builds from attention and habit. Where you point your focus literally bends how fast the hours move. The clock on the wall keeps steady time. The clock inside you never does. You felt it. A deadline tomorrow makes today evaporate. A dull afternoon stretches like taffy. And when you're fully absorbed, really lost in something, time simply disappears. That's not the clock changing. That's you. So the tyranny of the clock is half invented. You aren't trapped in time so much as arguing with a story about it. But there's a third agreement, quieter than the other 2. The one wearing your own face. The self that rewrites itself. Now, the strangest one. The you reading this feels like a single, solid person, sitting behind your eyes, holding steady across your whole life. But try to find it. Point to the exact place where you begins. The harder you look, the more it slips through your fingers. In 2012, in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, the neuroscientist Robin Carhart Harris and his colleagues watched the brain as the sense of self loosened. They mapped a specific network tied to the feeling of a fixed, bounded me, and found its activity can be turned down. When it quiets, the borders of the self soften. And here's the bright part. Your identity isn't a stone at your core. It's a process. And a process can change. You know a version of this already. The person you were at 7, at 17, last year. Different beliefs, different fears, a different voice in your head. You call them all me, but almost every cell and opinion has been quietly replaced. So, the self isn't a thing you have. It's a story you keep telling, and you're allowed to tell it differently, which raises the real question. If money, time, and the self are all inventions, why do they feel so unbreakably real? Why the illusion feels real? These fictions feel real for a reason. Your brain didn't build them to trick you. It built them to keep you alive. Money coordinates millions of strangers. Time lets you plan a future. The self stitches your days into one continuous story. Useful tools, everyone. But the same machinery has a cost. In 2010, in the journal Science, the researchers Matthew Killingsworth and Daniel Gilbert pinged thousands of people throughout their days. They found the mind wanders off into the past and future for about 47% of your waking hours. And the wandering itself predicted unhappiness, no matter what people were doing. The tools that build your world also pull you out of it. You've done it today. Standing in a warm shower, but somewhere else entirely, replaying an old argument, rehearsing a future one. Your body in the present and your mind everywhere but here. The illusions don't just feel real. They pull you out of your own life. So here's the tension. The very stories that keep you safe can quietly keep you asleep. But the good news is simple. What the mind builds, the mind can loosen its grip on. And on the other side of that loosening, something opens up. Life after the illusion. Seeing through the three illusions takes nothing away from you. Your money still buys groceries. Your calendar still works. Your name still answers when it's called. Nothing disappears. What changes is your grip. You stop mistaking the map for the ground you're standing on. This was Alan Watts's quiet invitation. Not to burn down money, time, and identity, but to hold them lightly, the way you'd hold a game you know is a game. When money is just a tool, it stops running you. When time is yours to shape, the hours slow down. When the self is a story, you get to pick up the pen. Nothing is lost. Everything gets lighter. You've tasted this too. The afternoon you forgot the time and felt strangely free. The moment you spent money on something and felt no anxiety, only joy. The day you surprised yourself by acting nothing like you, small cracks of light through the walls. Each of those moments was a preview. A few seconds of standing outside the three agreements and finding to your relief that the floor still held. So what actually waits for you out there? Past money, past the clock, past your own name. Remember where we started. Yesterday you checked the time, checked your balance, said your name, and treated all three as walls. Here's the good news you were promised. They were never walls. They were doors. Money is a tool you're allowed to put down.